conversations. It's the 11th one. I'd like to welcome everyone that is tuned in from the comfort of their sofas, chairs, and even beds. It's on a Friday night. It's been a long week. It has been tiresome, hard at work, and with studying at the same time. So today it's not a tense Friday. In fact, this session is just for us to have this conversation and just relax, take off our mind from the academics and also the work. There's been a lot, especially during the time of the year that we are in. But I just love to welcome everyone and also our lovely guest, in which I'm just going to introduce in a moment or so. Today, we've got a lovely lady. She's beautiful. She's very focused, and I love that she has order as well. And she's a qualified chartered accountant. Her name is Kidiboni Pilusa. Kidiboni Pilusa, CASA. Kidiboni, it's an honor to have you. Welcome to our session. How are you?
Hi, Caesar. Thank you for having me.
Are you feeling good on a Friday?
Yes. Oh, I'm so relieved it's a Friday. I had an awful week, so I'm definitely relieved it's a Friday.
Yeah. We are just happy to have you tonight, and I just believe that we are just going to engage, and it's just going to be insightful. And yeah, we are ready to hear from you. Yeah, just to begin things with, if you can tell us who Kidiboni is from the personal point of view. What do you love to do over the weekends? Who is Kidiboni at a personal perspective?
Oh, okay. Thanks, Caesar. Kidwani is a wife, a mom, and a sister. I love family. Family for me comes first. Family for me is the most important. Like they are that one community that will always be there for you. So yeah, and I love the outside. I love the outdoor. I enjoy being outside, and also just board games. I'm very competitive here. So
okay.
yeah. So yeah, that the outdoor interior decor, and yeah. So those are my what I do for fun.
Yeah, a person that loves outdoors. I think with the lockdown also easing out, that boils out nice for you.
Yeah, well, it does. Although now it's a bit of a tricky one, given that I have a little one. So I have a 14-month-old baby. So I'm a bit protective of that space. So I'm not as outgoing as I would normally be. So yeah, but otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying a bit of knowing that I can go outside as opposed to what lockdown was doing to us.
It was just terrible. How's the experience with the newborn, the child? You are a new mom, I understand. How's that experience?
It's a wonderful experience, yet a challenging one, because you're always wondering if what you're doing is enough. Like it doesn't matter how good or how okay you are, but you always question as to, is this enough? Will this help? And you're just glad when you hit some milestones and stuff. So yeah, and it's also a fulfilling moment. It's one of those things whereby you second guess yourself sometimes, but when you see things,
Yeah.
you see them taking that first step, when you hear them saying mama for the first time, you're like, ah, I must be doing something right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think you're going to be a lovely mom as time goes on. And yeah, I just wish you luck on that. Just to get on to more of your career and your academics. Um, you grow up in Limpopo, and it's yeah, you grew up in Limpopo, and you also go to a boarding school. Take us through that experience of growing up in Limpopo and your high school journey. Take us through that.
Okay, I grew up in a very family orientated environment, like where I'm so close with my parents, both of them, and with my siblings as well. Like even now, one of them is sitting somewhere here judging me. Yeah, there
Oh,
are
that's
those
nice
people.
though. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, there are those people that I know are always rooting for me. So I grew up in a very nice, neat family, like whereby we are very supportive of each other. Then
Yeah.
to primary school in a school around like Palavora. Then I went to Palavora Primary School. Then I went to high school at SJ van der Merwe, which is in Lowakom. It was a boarding school. So it was a bit of a difficult phase, like a bit of a challenge as to adjusting to being away from home and all that. But eventually, you're like, ugh, I don't even need these people. So yeah, then from
Yeah.
I did my undergrad with UJ. Then from UJ, I didn't go into what's this thing? I didn't go into articles immediately. I started working afterwards. I did my postgrad with UNISA though.
Okay. Just when you are still in high school at the boarding school, what influences you to say, I want to become an accountant, but not just an accountant, you want to become a chartered accountant. What influences you to come to that decision and eventually going to the University of Johannesburg and studying there?
Yeah. To this day, my dad still laughs about what I wanted to do. I wanted to do genetics management and do something within forensics and yeah, something that has to do with biology and stuff. So I still was sketchy. I was a whole lot sketchy about why that and am I really sure? And I also hated the second part of biology, so I wasn't certain. So it took a lot of consulting, especially on my dad's side. He's very focused when it comes to education. So
Yeah.
the one who actually influenced the decision for me to be a CA. To this day, he still says, "Hey, if it wasn't for me, when you'd be somewhere there, not knowing what's yeah." So
Yeah.
it was his influence mainly.
Yeah, and you still go to University of Johannesburg, you study accounting. How is that experience during your undergrad qualification? Now that your father has influenced you, you have accepted that, you are in the journey now at UJ. How is the experience there?
Oh, okay. The fortunate thing for me is that in my high school, although I was doing your biology and physics, I added accounting as a standard grade. Though everything else I did at high grade, then I added accounting just out of curiosity. So for me, it wasn't a new thing when I went to UJ. So it wasn't as bad. I actually got to enjoy it. I got to love it. Hence I did so well and I managed to finish my degree on record time. But it was yeah, I guess it was one of those whereby you get, when you get there, you realize that actually I was about to make a mistake here going into the other fields, because when it comes to I don't like that.
Yeah, okay. You must be really smart finishing an accounting degree record time. That's nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
then you are saying immediately after your undergrad qualification, you went on starting to work. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. What was your thinking there? Not maybe finishing your postgraduate degree and starting with articles. You just decide to go and work. Nothing that is related to the articles and the journey towards chartered accountancy.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that being the firstborn of four siblings, you there is
Yeah.
no bursary, there's no one funding you. So my parents are the one who funded my studies from undergrad, and yeah. So it got to a point where I also realized that actually it's not gonna work if I'm going into this qualification, and the next siblings after me, they're twins. So you can imagine now they have to prepare for
Oh.
as to they're gonna go to high school and varsity at the same time. So I needed to make a leeway for the budget to accommodate them as well. So at some point I had to stand on my own and fund my way through to the rest of the qualification.
Yeah, that's quite a story for a lot of young black people. But I love that you've got a good heart. Um, you go to do your CTA. Was it also record time?
No, unfortunately not. Actually, there
How?
it got so hectic, I promise you. Unfortunately, you have to understand that UJ, I was so strict and I was so book focused, and that was all that I did. And immediately
Yeah.
after, now I'm working, I'm independent. I go to Limpopo, where I went to high school. So I get to meet everyone that I went to high school with. I get to meet all the people that I've been friends with from all those years. So it took a while. I honestly stayed at CTA for a long while. And back then, UNISA had CTA level. It had deep, what they called DPEC and CTA instead of CTA 1 and 2. So yeah, it was yeah. I took a while there, and it had to go to a place whereby I had to reflect and get back to what is it that I want. Am I on this journey or not? So
Yeah.
it did, yeah. I did
Yeah.
like I did take my time there. But I wouldn't take that experience, honestly. I wouldn't take that experience away, because if there's anything that I always say now is that I don't regret any of that experience, in a sense that honestly I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for CTA. I wasn't ready for the commitment it requires. So everything flew at the very right pace that it should have.
Yeah. And at the time you're doing CTA, I also working at the same time.
Yes.
That must be a
An
big
accountant.
challenge.
Yeah, it was, and especially because the company that I had joined, it was a huge company, in the sense that we had a lot of clients. Like, we at that time, I did everything from registering a company up to financial statements and tax returns and all those things. So, and you can imagine the admin that goes into that. Honestly, it was an exhausting role. I think more exhausting than articles at some point, because of the admin that's in there. Like, in as much as articles are so exhausting, they're a bit better because you get to enjoy a bit more of the technical side of your qualification, as opposed to filing for name reservations with the CIPC and going at SARS for tax returns. It was, yeah, it was just messy at that point.
Yeah. And now we are looking back. Gidiboni is a qualified chartered accountant. What does it mean to you? What value do you think this brand brings along? And what opportunities have you now experienced? And you're thinking, had I not been a chartered accountant, I wouldn't be here. What value does it bring all around?
Wow. Like, for me, it's a whole lot of opportunities. Honestly, I love the broadness of the brand. Actually, if you look at the brand, you'll be shocked as to how we are used to the traditional accountant or auditor as
Yeah.
you advance into the program. But as you go beyond, you tend to realize that there is endless opportunities. For example, just today, I was talking to someone who is head of IT at an audit firm, and he is a CA. So you wouldn't think he's more interested. His interest is more on artificial intelligence, and you wouldn't think that
Oh,
we play any role in that field. But the analytics that goes in there, the algorithms that goes in there, they do talk a lot to what we do on a day to day. So it's quite a broad qualification, and it gives you endless opportunities. It's honestly up to you as to what is it that you want to achieve with the qualification, because you can't say I'm a CA, then I'm gonna get everything. But it takes a lifelong learning afterwards. What is it that you want and what interests you, which is what I love about it. Because you can also move into something like the regulatory field. I was so shocked, as because you would think that it's dominated by lawyers, but there's quite a whole lot of CAs that go into the financial legislation that we have, like the different financial sector regulatories and the Banks Act, all those things. You'll be shocked at the influence that we have as CAs in that field as well. So the broadness of it is what I love about the qualification.
so even at your current job, you're a project manager at SAICA. It's still not numbers.
Come again?
You are at SAICA right now as a project manager, and it's still not numbers.
Yes, Caesar. It's a project. I'm a project director now at Saika. I started off as a project manager, then I got promoted 2 years into the job. So I work as a project director for members in business, which is basically everyone that's not in auditing or tax. So members that are in corporate reporting, whether you are in whatever industry that you're in, I assist with overlooking for their needs post-qualification.
Yeah, I've got interesting questions coming on, but
Okay.
just, yes, at 6:30, I think we are going to have a lot of questions from the candidates. It's intense. Rough, but we are going to get these questions.
I hope they're lenient on me, but I'm
I bet they are not, but they will be coming in.
okay.
They'll be coming in at 6:30, and I know you love taking on questions. Yeah, they are coming in at 6:30. But if already you've got a question, keep it coming so that they do not get clustered at that particular point in time. You can keep them coming as we have this conversation. Kidiboni, you are with Endunamo. What stands out for you during your period at Endunamo? What did you love the most?
And the number gave me friends. One. At varsity, I went to varsity with my cousins, so I don't have a friend that I could personally say I met this person at university, because it will be my cousins, then the people they know. So I don't have someone who I say I met at varsity, so it gave me that one. So on a lighter note, but on a serious note, like what I loved most about Indunamo was the assessments and how they prepared you when you got to your UNISA test and your exam techniques and everything. So it got quite intense. Like at times I would write literally I literally wrote every test, every exam in that year.
Wow.
And yeah, but I promise you, you can go through the records. I think at some point I would have gotten a 20 because I wasn't ready, but it helped with the preparation because I knew what to work on afterwards. And I also could focus on some of the exam techniques. Sometimes I thought I knew something, but for some reason, the way I answered, I didn't cover all the most important easy marks and all those things. So I worked a lot on my exam technique as well from those revisions and reflections of those assessments.
You are mentioning a 20%. Actually, I was talking with somebody, I won't mention the name. She was saying she's languishing around 18%, 13%, 16%. How did you come from that 20% of yours?
Well, it happens, and I think with me, my most struggle, like everything else was fine, especially MENEC. Everyone used to say they struggle with MENEC, but for me, MENEC was like my go-to when I wanted to motivate myself to study. I started with MENEC, then I could flow into everything else. So consolidations for me were the worst. Like I couldn't make sense of why am I not consolidating these things properly. So I used consultations a lot, and I think it helped that most of the time when you consult, your responses were so instant that I could be consulting and I could be working on something and I got stuck, then I'll just quickly send an email. You'd be surprised. Within 10, 20 minutes, I would have gotten my answer and I could continue. So the consultation there, it came in very handy. And no question to me was ever a stupid question. Like they honestly responded and they took you through the principles. I believe that's what helps a lot, because they took you through the principles and you get to understand the concept of each and every element within the standard. So
Yeah, it's okay. These friends that you're getting at Endunamo, you're still friends with them, right?
yes, I am.
That is lovely. I'm just picturing a university life without a lot of friends. How did you cope? Especially when you were struggling. Especially when you were struggling.
It didn't feel like I didn't have friends, because the
Yeah.
friends that I had were doing accounting as well. So we were more like, they were more like my friends. I'm saying friends in a sense that I knew them from their family. So I didn't
Yeah.
knew them. Then I had one cousin who was in psychology. So it was like, it was home basically. It's just that I didn't meet someone that I would say I made friends at varsity. This is the person that I met at varsity. No, the only people I was with is my cousins and the friends that they knew from different backgrounds. So yeah.
Yeah. Just I'm going back a little back to what we were talking about the value which the CASA designation brings to you. Do you think it's necessary to have other qualifications, designations added to that, or you feel that for you personally it's enough?
It depends.
Yeah.
This qualification is a very personal qualification. It depends what you want to achieve, what you want to do. I now have a SEMA qualification, but what that about is that when I got a promotion to be a PD, my senior executive was roping me into the strategy. So I thought maybe doing SEMA, because we just go straight to the strategic level due to the partnership that SAICA has with SEMA. So I figured let me do SEMA and get into what strategy is, the detail of it. So I wouldn't say someone should just go and study a qualification afterwards. It's pointless. But should you know that, for example, you want to go into academia, you definitely know that you'll need a master's at some point. So start researching as to what kind of thesis do you want, or what you want to focus on and such things. But I wouldn't advise someone to just go and study, because it's enough. Even the post qualification streams that are there within SAICA, like they have events, they have quite a whole lot of things that can assist you with your day-to-day. So you don't necessarily need a new qualification. There are quite a lot of resources, but also assess what is it that you want personally. What do you want to do? It might be that you want to focus on artificial intelligence. Obviously, the CA qualification, undergrad and higher education, doesn't have those things. You might have to do something within IT. You might have to get another certification. You might be wanting to specialize within the banking industry. So it might be that you'll need to go into one of the short courses and learn how the banking industry works and such things. So hence I say personal one. So it depends as to what is it that you want to do, where do you want to specialize in, and once you have established that, only then can you establish if there is any support within SAICA structures itself that you can utilize to get that thing. If not, because honestly, the seminars that are there are some of the assessor courses that are there, they might be sufficient for what you want. But if there isn't,
Yes.
only then can you go and do whatever other qualification that you want.
Okay. It's really interesting, Kinboni, what we are growing to understand today. A lot of things are getting computerized, fourth industrial technology coming in. I was still relevant. I was still on the right path. Is it not devaluing our qualification? What do you think on that?
I'm glad that you're asking this question when I know the intel. We carried out a study at SAICA whereby we were assessing as to the future relevance of the profession. So what we established is that being technical is no longer as important to people as you think. Like what we are finding is, what we found is that lifelong learning is very important, and it talks more about broadening your horizon as to being a bit more of a people's person as opposed to you being technical. Now we are moving into a place whereby I'll be working close to a computer, in a sense that your child balance, that those things can be run by a computer because of the algorithms that are there, and how controls are there, and how systems can just be set up, and all those things. So what we've realized is that what the computer doesn't have that you will be bringing is the interpersonal skills. It's some of those things. So with the APC and all those things that are being implemented, it's addressing some of those needs. So if you look at what SAICA is doing at this point, like there's a CA 2025 that everyone can go and read about, which is covering some of those things that we've identified as to, for you to remain relevant, what is it that you have to focus on? So there are key things that have been identified and key skill sets that have been identified that people can just have a look at and see as to if what they want is still within those things. And you're more than welcome to always tap into SAICA to say that what is being done within my field to still keep me relevant. We are very engaged when it comes to our members as well. So it's all the information is there. Like just go through the SEICA website. There's quite a lot. We are still very much relevant. You'll be surprised.
Yeah, it really is encouraging to hear that. In just about a minute, we will just be taking questions as they are coming in. But I'm so interested at the time. You've worked in different industries already before you go to SEICA. How much of that experience in those different sectors or industries has contributed to who you are today, and the skills that you have learned? Are you applying them in your current job?
In terms of there can never be a skill set that you acquire that is useless. I believe in some point in your life you'll definitely utilize it. Especially what I'm finding to be of very relevance even today is the experience that I got from articles. The resilience of going through those things and all those procedures and all those managing the juniors, being managed as well. It helps you even with your management skills. I mean, you're able to identify like simple things like how you want to be managed and how you should be as a manager. So it makes with the person that reports to you and the one that you report to a whole lot easier. So it's quite simple things that will be meaningful eventually to you when you reflect back on your journey as well. So sorry. So also, I was more in IT. I worked in IT, then a generic accounting firm whereby our clients were quite diverse. So what I'm finding handy now is that in looking after members in business, it helps a lot with identifying some of what are the issues within corporate reporting, what issues are members having as accountants per se. So we're able to take some of those things and turn them into any guidance that we issue or any educational material that's being issued and such things.
Yeah. Would it be safe if I say in whatever job that you are doing, take the soft skills, learn as much as you can, and try to apply that knowledge because it's beneficial in your future plans?
Yes, definitely. Like we always tend to be too technical focused. I think it's more because of what the CTA does to us. Like the CTA and ITC, they're like one of those things that yeah, you have to know your books, you have to know your basis of conclusion paragraphs as well, and all those things. But what we tend to lack as well is what I realized is that the soft skills tend to be some of the things that even today, sometimes you listen to some of the people as they talk, like the technical people as they talk, and you think, no, man, you're being rude. And so, those are some of the simplest things that makes or breaks someone's day and how they enjoy the corporate environment. It's something so simple, but you can be good technically, but be a horrible boss. So take those soft skills and utilize them and make sure that you build around you, not only yourself, but also build an environment whereby everyone is conducive to learning. Basically, everyone enjoys learning around you and enjoys working around you. We spend most of our days at work, so you don't want to be in a horrible working environment.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. Kidiboni, when I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm talking with someone. By the way, she's about to write ITC exam.
Oh, okay.
So what she says is she's really stressed, really overwhelmed. There's a lot of pressure now that is coming because exams are about 4 weeks time. So now there's a lot that she's got to cover. Um, at the time you're doing your CTA, particularly your ITC, um, how did you manage to calm yourself down? Surely there is pressure, surely there is stress, surely there is other work-related activities that need your attention 110%. How did you manage to calm yourself down, manage your stress levels, and try to focus in preparing for your exam?
I'd say reflection. I mean, it doesn't help to go into studying when you're stressed out. So I feel take time off, reflect on, like, sit back and try and reflect back on what is your struggle at the moment. Write them down. Like, if, for example, you know, or you're struggling with discipline, you're not, because let's be honest, like, be honest with yourself. Like, there are times whereby you're not putting in the time and you know that you're not putting in the time. So just be honest and write down as to what is it that you're struggling with at the moment. Is it the technical? Is it the techniques? Is it, like, what exactly is it that is your struggle? So that when you go back and when you go sit down and study, you focus on what's important. Don't still go and focus on the technical, whereas you know the technical. Rather sit down and focus on exam techniques. Like, you always know, like, if there is basic marks for conclusion, then you know that when you get into the exam, start with the format, the memo, then you already know that you have your 2 marks or you have your 5%, whatever the case is. So it's such simple things of just being honest with yourself and just reflect and see as to where is your struggle and identify that and work on that. Focus on exactly what that struggle is.
Yeah, thank you on that. Surely she's listening.
I hope it helps, and good luck.
Yeah, there's another question from Shilongi. Shilongi is saying, and let me tell you, Kidiboni, some of them had about 4 months to finish a small question bank, and they have not finished it. So what Shilongi is asking is, from that question bank that they have, how did you go about picking up the questions to practice with? Now she understands that there's not much of time left to do everything, so she's trying to pick up the questions that will be sufficient to maybe cover most of the things, so that they can be prepared come exam time. How did you go about picking up those questions?
Shilongi, spotting is very dangerous. Please make sure that you don't try and spot. At this point, given that it's late, for me, what had worked was being consistent throughout the year. Like, you ask everyone who knew me at that point every single day from a certain time up to a certain time, irrespective of whether I'm in the mood to study or not. I was sitting at UNISA studying until late and left very late. So at this point, given that you don't have time, go back and reflect on the topics that you know you're struggling with. If it's IFRS 9, because you know that there are those topics that are just not kind to us. So just reflect. If it's IFRS 9, if it's MENEC, if you're struggling with consolidations, try and focus on those. But also in focusing on your struggles, don't leave back some of the questions that you think you know. Also reflect. And what also works is, when you do the questions, do them within the stipulated time. It assists you with calming you down and getting you ready for the pressure that comes on the day. And also, just at this point, you just be panicking, but try and be as calm as possible when you go into the exam, and believe in yourself and believe that what you've learned should be sufficient. Because sometimes we make mistakes not because we don't know, but because of how nervous we are, and then we tend to attempt our questions otherwise. So try and be as calm as possible, and I don't know, hey, do the best that you can. Like, don't spot though, because spotting is it's very dangerous. I mean, now the presentation, what's this, IAS 1 is changing. You might focus on IFRS 9, and they might pop up something as simple as presentations, how the proposed presentations would be. So you see something like that can throw you off. Just make sure that you still cover everything, all your ground. And I think the only thing is just ensure that you prepare yourself for the day, in a sense of sticking to the time. If you're doing an hour test, make sure you do it within the stipulated time. And when you critique yourself, or when you go back and reflect, don't be too hard on yourself, and also just be honest and focus on what was difficult for you at that time.
Shilongi, I think you are happy now. This one is from me, Kidiboni. I have got about 2 weeks of leave days. 2 weeks of leave days. How do I best utilize the time that I have? Yes, I've lost much time. There's a lot of catching up to do, and I've got 2 weeks. How do I best utilize the time that I
I'll just die. Kadal.
have?
I'm kidding. I think it goes back to what I keep saying. Like in that 2 weeks, what is your struggle? What do you think you need to focus on? I think honestly, like being honest with yourself and just reflecting helps a lot with how you plan. And also, when you plan your time, stick to it as well, because we are good at planning. Hey, we are good at sticking our exam timetable and just saying from this time to be doing accounting. Then you get distracted and you don't get to do it. Try and work it back. But what I also know is that don't stress yourself too much, in a sense that don't be too hard on yourself. If for some reason things happen and you are not able to get back to a certain thing, don't be too hard, because the stress also, like it doesn't help you in moving forward. So try
Yeah.
to just be calm, as calm as you can, and just do what you can. You want to succeed, so you're doing your best already, and it's already hard. So don't be too hard on yourself as well.
Yeah. No, thank you, Kidiboni. I'm just going to give you an opportunity just now, as we are wrapping up things. The final words of encouragement. Honestly, the reality is exams are coming close. And so the words of encouragement that you can say to the candidates, um, yeah, from your experiences as well. But this is a question from me. Would you encourage your child to be CASA?
If it's what they want, yes. I think we are getting to a point where our kids are fortunate enough that they can pick what they love and not pick something because they want to ensure that they have a livelihood afterwards and all those things. So I'm all for he should do what he loves to do. But if he gets to love the accounting profession, definitely I'll encourage him to do it. But if he is into music, if he is into arts, like honestly, I think our kids or the next generation is fortunate enough that they don't have to pick career based on it has to make you money. Because unfortunately,
Yeah,
we had to consider all those things. But now, when it comes to them, I feel they're welcome to actually. He's more than welcome to actually pick what he loves doing.
yeah, yeah. Just coming in to wrap it all up, Kidiboni, how would you encourage? What would be your words of encouragement for particularly the ITC candidates that are writing in just about 3-4 weeks?
You've already come this far. Honestly, it took a lot. You already know a lot. So don't second doubt yourself. Like there's so much that you know for you to have gotten this far, and make the most of the time that you have. Like just utilize it to the best of your ability. Use your community as well. Don't be too focused on studying that you don't relax as well. Take time off and make sure that when you go back into your studies, you're fresh and you're able to absorb all that information, because sometimes we tend to just block out everything and focus, and it tends to be a bit stressful. We create a stressful environment ourselves. So do your best to still make studying enjoyable. I don't know what everyone does for fun. If it's working in the garden for like 2 minutes, then just going back to study, take a walk, still exercise, eat healthy, all those things, they really do assist with your preparation as well. So I would say yeah, just ensure that you have a balance so that you don't end up stressing yourself out, as opposed to easing into going to exam. Because for you to be this far, for you to be able to be going into writing your ITC, you already know a lot. Be confident in what you know and just reflect back on what you know, and reflect back on what your struggles have been, and just work on those. And yeah, you'll definitely make it.
Thank you, Kidiboni. I think that is really encouraging and eases a lot of stress and pressure that we have got. And I'd love to think that, echoing your words, that everyone has come so far now, and they shouldn't be doubting what they can. Yes, it's stressful, there is pressure, but I think they can always look back at the successes that they had, even in CTA, and all these obstacles that they had, and take courage from there facing these exams. Kidiboni, it was a great pleasure to have this conversation with you. I think we are inspired. We also want to become CAs. We are inspired, and we've enjoyed having you around. And I just wish that you continue growing in your career and continue inspiring us even more. And also have a lovely journey raising up your best one.
Thank you so much, Tize, and all the best to everyone. And truly, like I appreciate the opportunity. It's
All
always
right.
it's always great to plant a seed.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kidiboni. To everybody that is sitting at home, now you can go and watch TV, or you can go out. It's fine. I will see you on the next coming session. Please do not miss it, because the more exams coming, I think there is more important guests that are coming in. Please do not miss any of it. Up until then, have a good evening. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.